my dear children, Namaste and welcome to yet another amazing session of our newly launched Class 10 ICSE series. So today I intend to take you through some tips and tricks on how to create a study timetable for the next 4 months, roughly 4 months. I wouldn't even say exactly 4 months, considering your pre-boards in the month of Feb. I think it's not even 4 months, but let's just roughly put it as 4 months, right? So we don't have much time to waste anymore. Those of you who have already been following a systematic and diligent timetable from the start of the academic year, well and good. If that's been working fine for you, absolutely great. Go ahead with it. This session is especially meant for those of you who don't have much of an idea about how and where to start and still have a lot of confusion about how you can finish studying your portions, finish covering all your portions in the entire ICSE syllabus before your pre-boards in Feb. Right? So let's not waste any more time. I think it's high time you get started. So let's get started, right? So I have a few general pointers to give you here. Have a daily and weekly schedule, okay? That is very important. I will also give you some tips about how to create the daily schedule and how to create that weekly schedule. We'll come to that in a bit. The next one is have a clear schedule for school days and holidays, right? Because on your school days, you will have to attend about 7 to 8 hours of your school classes, and you may even spend time in traveling to and from your school. So depending on all of that, you will have to create your schedule, right? The third one, you must definitely know your strong and weak subjects, because in your timetable, in your weekly timetable, you are going to be creating it in such a way that you allot time for every single subject. Right? I wouldn't say every subject in every particular day, on every particular day, but in a week, you will definitely have to spend some time for every single subject that you have, right? So roughly, I think for ICSE, you have around 10 subjects to cover, right? So that's a lot. So in a week, make sure you create a timetable in which you have enough time for each of these subjects equally, right? Then, practice math daily. This is very, very important. Like in my previous session, I told you about a few study tips on how to create charts and paste it around, right? So I also told you that you could have a chart with important formulae, important equations, important whatever important things that you need to remember. So in mathematics especially, you will have a lot of identities, a lot of theorems, and a lot of such things to remember. All of these are very important as base of the subject itself, but that's not it, right? In mathematics, especially because it's numericals, you will definitely need a lot of speed, and that comes only with practice, only with practice, right? Which is why I have put here practice math daily. Whether you want it as an additional task of about 20-30 minutes in addition to your regular study schedule, or you want to incorporate math, 1 hour of math into your daily study schedule, is completely up to you. But my only suggestion, my sincere suggestion is that you must make it a point to practice math daily, right? Read a bit of English for at least 20 minutes before bedtime. So why I say before bedtime is, this is my personal opinion, because English is usually an interesting and a light subject, in the sense that you need to read a lot of drama, poems, and a lot of literature. And yes, grammar is also fun to work on. So personally for me, I like doing English just to relax my brain, just to relax my mind, so that it can even help me sleep better. Okay, so if you want to have another time during the day, that is also fine. But again, like math, have a little bit of time, at least 20 minutes of your daily time allotted exclusively for English. Whatever you want to understand in English, that's up to you, but have some time for it, right? Now, once all your portions are done at school, start solving past year's papers. I have told you this multiple times before. Solving past year's papers is extremely important. And now that we are in the month of October, I'm assuming at least 80% of your portions at school would have been done. Some schools would have completed 100% of your portions, 100% of your syllabus. If that is the case, once all the portions are done, now it is the time to start solving past year's papers. So your target should be to solve at least 4 past year's papers per week for different subjects. Okay, 4 papers, 4 different subjects per week. I'm saying the minimum is 4 per week, right? Finally, set aside at least 10 days before your pre-boards exclusively for revision. You can't completely keep studying on and on and on and plan your study schedule in such a way that you are finishing only on the eve of your pre-boards, right? You can't afford to do that. You always need to have some buffer time, and 10 days just before your pre-boards is the bare minimum buffer time that you should have. Ideally, you should have completed all your chapters at least a month before your pre-boards. But just in case your revision and study schedules cannot correspond to that, make sure you have at least 10 days remaining once you have completed studying and revising all your chapters in all the subjects, right? Now, like I told you, you need to have a clear daily timetable and you need to have a clear weekly timetable, right? So this is an idea that I had for your daily timetable the days when you have school regularly, Monday to Friday normally, right? The time of the day may differ because all of you go to different schools and some of you go to nearby schools, some of you have to travel a lot to and from school. So depending on all of that, you can fix the time of the day when you want to follow this. This is just an estimate of the number of hours just to suggest how you can plan your day, right? So I have written it as you need sleep for 7 hours, at least 7 hours. You would be attending school for around 8 hours, I'm assuming. Take about 1 hour for your meal time, by which I mean breakfast and dinner, because lunch, you would have a light lunch or something of that sort at school. So roughly 1 hour or 1.5 hours for your meal times. Your study time should be for 5 hours, okay? Don't be overwhelmed by that because I know you're tired by the time you reach home from school. But plan your day in such a way that you have enough time for breaks also in between. Remember the Pomodoro technique that we discussed? So make sure you create a schedule keeping all that in mind, but it should be a minimum of 5 hours in a day. Another suggestion I want to give you here is that generally for human beings, if you have had a good night's sleep, okay, you would ideally be freshest and sharpest as soon as you wake up in the morning. It may not work for everyone, but typically for children, especially for children around your age, you must be around 15 years of age. Typically, I think morning times work well for studies, right? So in my personal opinion, out of these 5 hours of study, if you could have around 1 hour or at least 1 hour or 1 hour 30 minutes of revision or study in the morning and the rest of it in the evening after you come home from school, I think that would be much more productive. Okay, try it out, see what works for you. And then, of course, some of you must be attending hobby classes, music classes, dance classes, or even badminton, sports classes, anything, whatever you may be attending. My sincere suggestion is don't stop it just because you're in class 10, right? If you are a parent hearing me right now, please keep this in mind. As long as your child is not overdoing it, there is no harm to it. 1 or 2 hours in a week of a hobby class can only do some good to your child, right? It can, in my opinion, it can help you be more productive when you sit down to study after that, right? So as long as you don't overdo it, it's absolutely fine. Or relax. I've written relax or others because you may want to find your own modes of exercise, going out for a walk, just relaxing, listening to some music, and all those breaks that add up during our, when we planned our Pomodoro technique, right? Everything together, you can have a total of about 3 hours of relaxation, right? So this is roughly the percentage of how I thought your regular school day could be planned. Relax, hobbies and others, I've given you 3 hours, also considering the fact that you may have to attend any tuition classes, or there is one more very important thing. Our sessions are going to be happening very regularly from next week, it's already started. From next week, Monday to Friday, you are going to be having regular subject sessions. So include that time. I want each of you to attend each of our sessions, because we will be discussing all your important topics in the next 3 months, three and a half months of biophysics, chemistry, and whatever concerns you may have, right? So don't forget, include that time also in these 3 hours, okay? Now, I told you that you could study for 5 hours in a day, right? Study time of 5 hours. So what do you study in those 5 hours, right? Ma'am, you can tell me, ma'am, I have 10 different subjects. I have so many things to study. So what do I study in those 5 hours, right? Just to decide that, just in the process of deciding that, you may end up wasting a lot of your time unnecessarily, right? So I have a bit of idea for you here on that as well. Assign 1 hour for your daily assignments or homework that you get from school, okay? 1 hour out of your 5 hours, right? Then dedicate 3 hours, of which you dedicate 1 hour to each subject. 3 subjects in a day should be your target, right? So 3 hours, 1 hour for each subject. And thirdly, decide the number of chapters to be done in a month. Okay, we'll talk about that in a bit. And the last one will be 1 hour of revision. Okay, so 1, 3 and 1, that adds up to your 5 hours, right? 1 hour of revision, what I mean is revision of whatever you have studied in that particular day during your study hours. Because unless you revise what you have learned, it doesn't help. You just memorize something, you recall it immediately, but what you need to ensure is that you are able to recall it even at a later point of time in the day when you try to sit down and think over it, right? So 1 hour at least for revision in all, right? So I hope I'm clear. And coming back to this point, decide the number of chapters to be done in a month. For example, in biology, you roughly have about 15 chapters, right? So you could plan in such a way that you complete 1 chapter per week. Okay, roughly, I've written, for example, for biology, 1 chapter per week per subject. What I mean is the science subjects in a week, and plan accordingly. If you can complete 5 chapters in a month within the next 3 months, okay, I'm telling you, October, November, December, and probably the first week or the second week of Jan. You can overlap into that too. Okay, you will be done with all your science chapters, right? But for subjects like math, where you roughly have around 24 chapters, you will have to plan accordingly. So how you need to start this planning is just divide your number of chapters into the number of months. 3 months, plan it for 3 months, divided by 3 months, the number of chapters, and then in a month, that gives you the number of how many you complete in 1 month, right? And in a month, if you have to complete that many chapters, how many would you have to do in 1 week? And if you have to finish that in a week, how much of that would you have to finish in 1 single day? It could be 1 full chapter in a day. It could be half of a chapter in a day, depending on what your target is, right? So you need to sit down and make this calculation right away today after you finish this session. Okay, we don't have any more time. It has to be, it's a very, very strict rule that I'm putting in front of you, because we really need to plan smart and aim for the best for your ICSE board exams, right? Let's go ahead. This is what I have for your holiday or weekend, your holiday or weekend timetable. This is how I have planned your day. Again, sleep, I have put 7 hours. Meals, perhaps you would like to have leisurely meals with your family. You could spend about 2 hours in total for that. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, all together. And study and weekly revision together, I have put it as 8 hours. So why have I added weekly revision here? Because study time, of course, like any other day, you can spend about 5 hours studying, like your Monday to Friday schedule, okay, however you want to plan it. And the extra 3 hours you could use to revise all of what you have completed studying in that particular week. You could also use it to enhance and sharpen your skills in subjects and topics that you are weak at, right? So use your weekends very, very productively. Make sure you're able to plan it for at least 8 hours, right? And then you would, of course, have school homework and all of that. You could use about 2 hours of your day for that. And yes, relax, your relaxation, hobby classes, and anything else that you would like to do to get some peace and calm yourself down, okay, and get rid of all any kind of stress that you have. You can take about 3 hours totally for that. Okay, and family time, yes, that is also very important. Some of you may want to go for family outings during your weekends, which is also important. So I have also given you some time for that, right? So there we go. This is the chart that I have made for you for your weekly timetable. So yes, that's about it. I think as long as you create a proper timetable, this is exactly what I want to do right after you watch this session, right after you attend this session. Pick up pen and paper in hand, okay? Plan out every single minute, every single hour of your day. See what works best for you and make sure you have a very, very smart, you have a realistic goal, okay? Don't overload, don't be over ambitious when you create the timetable. Don't be like, okay, ma'am said 5 hours of study in a day, but probably I'll put it as 8 hours in a day. If you can do that, great, absolutely great. I have put it as 5 hours on a regular day, keeping in mind your concentration span and abilities of an average 15-year-old child, right? So be smart when you plan that out. Have a very, very strict timetable in hand, and I want you to write as a comment at the bottom of this video, I can and I will. Okay? I want each of you to do that. After you have created your timetable, take about 30-45 minutes of your time, create this timetable, and then put your comment, I can and I will, okay? And right away, from tonight, you are going to start following this, okay? And yes, I wanted to tell you this, if you really want to do something, you will find a way. If you don't, you will only find an excuse. So why have I put this here, and why do you think I have put this GIF here? Why do you think I've put Tom and Jerry here? Because it's not like Jerry is always stronger than Tom. It's that in this particular cartoon, if I remember right, Jerry's friend, the duck, is trapped inside Tom's mouth, and Jerry just badly wants to rescue the duck. So he's just going and hitting Tom's teeth down, breaking them down just to rescue the duck out, right? So he really is willing to do that. He badly wants to do that, which is why he is somehow finding his way to achieve his target, right? If Jerry can do this, each of us are definitely capable of doing this. Don't worry at all if you haven't started your preparations. Start this very minute, and the very first step, like I told you, will be create a very smart timetable, keeping in mind all the pointers that I have told you. Just in case you have any specific comments, any specific concerns, you could contact me on my email ID, which I will be sharing, or you could put in the comment section below, right? And don't forget to download Vedantu's learning app, wherein we have a lot of amazing features. Join our Telegram group so that you can keep chatting with our teachers regarding any of your academic difficulties, academic doubts, and we have a lot more features out there. And if you found this post useful, and if you like this video, do remember to hit the like button, do share it with your near and dear ones, and do subscribe to our channel Vedantu 9 and 10. And as I told you, I'm always happy to help. You may connect with me at ambika.gopalakrishnan@vedantu.com, or you could just put a comment in the comment section below. One more thing, just in case you have something to share, what I mean is, if you have already created a wonderful timetable for yourself and it's been working great for you, and if it's something different from what I have discussed today, please feel free to share it in the comment section below, so that other friends, your other ICSE friends, can also benefit from that. Okay, so let's plan this in a smart way. Let's aim to complete all our revisions before your pre-boards. One more thing. Oh, before I forget, Now, I told you that you need 3 hours of relaxation time in a day, right? By relaxation, I also meant that you could include any of your tuition timings or whatever else that you are attending, okay, before I forget and before I sign off. So let's just plan smart and aim at coming out with flying colors for the ICSE board exams. I'll see you again with yet another interesting session. Until then, happy studying and bye-bye.